Yo, what's up guys, my name's Hakiii and here are the best vehicles to use as a solo player in GTA Online, starting with a supercar. Now this isn't any ordinary supercar. You might be thinking to yourself, Hakiii, why are you showing just a good supercar? But there's actually something really special about it that I haven't seen with any other supercar in this game, and that's the LM87. Now the LM87 is actually a one-seater supercar. Looking inside of it, it's just one seat in the dead middle of the car instead of on the left side. And so sure, it's a great performing supercar, but the reason I wanted to include it on this list is because it's literally a one-seater supercar. It's perfect for solo players because you can only have one person in there. The traction on this thing is actually outrageous. Like, it's the closest thing you can possibly have to an F1 car as a supercar. Driving it, it feels like it's glued to the ground, and it's got such good grip, by far the best in the class. Next awesome vehicle to use as a solo player is the APC Tank. Honestly, barely anyone uses this vehicle, and it's actually really effective, so highly recommend it. Pretty underrated. It's basically a four-wheeler, but then you can hold right on the D-pad while you're in place to switch into what I like to call tank mode. But the thing is, it's actually much more effective than a regular tank because you can legit spam rockets. The speed in which you can fire the rockets out of this launcher is actually insane. It might be the fastest in the entire game. As you're seeing in the gameplay, I'm just spamming rockets non-stop, and it's actually super overpowered. Why don't more people talk about how good this is? I don't know. I mean, I guess you can look at the only downside with it is that you have to be in place in order to fire those rockets. You can't be driving around as you're doing it, which I guess is a downside, but that's just how Rockstar decided to balance this thing out. When you first purchase the APC, it actually has, I believe, a minigun on the top of it or some sort of machine gun, but through the bunker research you can unlock the missile launcher, which once again is an amazing upgrade. And when you don't need to fire rockets, it's much faster than other types of tanks in the game because it's actually a four-wheeler, so it's way faster than, let's say, the half-track or the Kanjali or the Rhino tank. All of those are much slower than this one, but if we're comparing those, they actually can fire weapons while on the move. And having full armor on this thing, it takes about 7 rockets to fully blow it up, which is some pretty solid armor. It's a very heavy vehicle, and it tends to run over a lot of other small pedestrian cars as well, which is another fun little activity to do with it. Then moving on to a similar vehicle that we briefly mentioned, this is the Kanjali tank. Now, if you like causing mayhem in the streets of GTA Online, this is the perfect vehicle to use for it. Something I absolutely love about the Kanjali is the unlimited ammo. You can keep on firing out of the cannon and whatever other weapons you choose to have on it, like the machine gun and stuff like that. It's overall got a big variety of weapons you can use if you were to have multiple people in it, but as the driver, as a solo driver in this thing, you can only use the cannon, which is probably the best thing. Firing out of that powerful cannon is very satisfying, and you can do it ongoingly with no issue since it has unlimited ammo, unlike the APC that actually has limited ammo. I believe it goes up to like 60 rockets total, and then you have to reload that one, but you could just ongoingly drive around, and for a tank, it's actually relatively fast. Of course, way faster than the OG Rhino tank as expected, and it makes it just a little bit harder to hit you if someone's trying to lock onto you with homing missiles, just because you can actually fire and use the cannon on the move, unlike with the APC. And armor wise, it's basically the same amount of explosive protection as the APC. In this gameplay, I got absolutely trucked by a brickade, but then I managed to get away from that and blew him up with just 3 shots. So it's pretty freaking easy to blow most vehicles up in this game, unless it's like a super armored vehicle that takes like 50 explosives to fully blow it up. Then obviously in that case it would be a lot more difficult. Against the vast majority of vehicles in this game, the Kanjali would absolutely shred them. Next one is going to be the weaponized Ignis, which is another awesome land vehicle that can shoot while on the move. Now typically in GTA Online, you'd think that an explosive cannon would be more effective than any type of minigun, but with the weaponized Ignis's machine gun, that is actually a small exception because this machine gun absolutely tears everything apart. It's not anything like, let's say, the Night Shark's machine gun, because that one is kind of weak. This thing is extremely powerful. Any pedestrian vehicle, doesn't matter if it's a big truck or a small car, it could blow it up within seconds. Let me know in the comments which weapon you'd rather use, the Ignis's machine gun or the Kanjali's cannon, because both of them are extremely powerful, so I'm curious to hear. Next up is going to be the most armored helicopter in the game, the Akula. One thing I don't particularly like about the Akula is the handling of it. I think it's got very weird handling. Every tiny turn you do with it, it's gonna tilt the entire helicopter like a ton, so it's very sensitive like that with the controls. The weapons on it are super fun to use though. I especially like the carpet bombing. It's just absolute mayhem whenever you use it. Holding right on the D-pad, it opens the bay doors right under the helicopter, and then just hold ARX on PlayStation and that's gonna drop so many little nukes, you can say. It's gonna shake your screen like crazy. Of course, it's got the standard homing missiles and all that, even though the tracking on the missiles can be a little goofy sometimes. The highlight of this one for a lot of people though is the armor of it. I mean, it's the most armored helicopter in the game. It takes a few missiles to fully blow it up, which is much better than 99.9% of helicopters that don't have any armor whatsoever. Next up is an Amani Tech vehicle. There's a lot of different ones. The ones I recommend the most are the Virtue that you can actually get for free, even though it technically costs over $2 million, the Stinger TT, and the Buffalo STX. I actually made a video on the best Amani Tech vehicles if you want to go check that out later, but the two Amani Tech upgrades are both extremely useful. One is the missile lock-on jammer, which is the more popular option. Basically, no weaponized vehicle can lock onto you with homing missiles. And then the less popular option that I personally have a lot of fun with is the remote control unit. In the gameplay, I decided to use the Jubilee, which is another pretty solid Amani Tech car. I got out the car, went into the RC menu, and as soon as you go in the RC mode, there's literally no driver. It's just nobody's driving the car. It's like a self-driving car, meaning you cannot die whatsoever since there's no actual driver. You just disappear off the face of the map as soon as you go inside, just like what happens when you go in the RC Bandito or the RC Tank. What's funny is you can actually pick up other players while remotely controlling the car, so this guy was really confused. He definitely thought a ghost was picking him up somehow. Many lower levels don't even know this is a thing, so you could definitely have some fun with this and confuse them a lot. You can do this with any Amani Tech vehicle, keep in mind, but I just decided to do this with the Jubilee. Next one is going to be the F-160 Raiju. This is considered by many to be the overall best vehicle in this game. I mean, the price definitely suggests that, coming in at just under $7 million to buy it. I'm not very good at flying it around. I really need to do some more practice with it, but if you get good with it, it is extremely overpowered. It's got an explosive cannon and homing missiles along with an off the radar mode, so you can actually go in stealth mode, which basically puts you completely off the radar for as long as you want. At the same time, it hides the ability to use weapons in stealth mode, but then when you go out of stealth mode, you can use weapons again. So it also has the hover mode that you can go in just like with the Hydra, so you can use it as like a helicopter or a plane, basically flying either horizontally or vertically. And of course, you probably guessed it, it's extremely fast. I believe it's the #1 fastest vehicle in the entire game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And for a jet, it actually has some solid customization. It's got a nice variety of different liveries, some pretty unique ones that I haven't seen on any other vehicle. Are there any vehicles you think I missed on this list? Let me know down below. Maybe there's one that I should have included that I just didn't think of. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it and subscribe if you are new with the bell turned on so you don't miss any more awesome videos like these. And click the video on screen now for the best offensive vehicles to use in GTA Online. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.